Okay, now let's go over the section on service development. You have your two types of business, product or service, and providing a service has a lot of different components than selling a product. So a service development is the end-to-end process of developing and launching a new service to be sold to customers. You will sell it. You will sell it just like a product. In fact, when you're setting it up on your website, you might want to think of it as a product that you're selling. Once it's sold, it's just a service you provide. This typically includes market research, service strategy, customer experience, marketing, operations, and launch of new service. The most important thing I can say, and I guess you could say it's part of branding, but when you're doing a service business, you need to be on time. It needs to be the main focus that you have, that you carry with you. Punctuality, when you're not offering a product, is everything, because it's people. So people need to be where they need to be at the right time. Otherwise, you're not really providing a good service. So let's talk about market research. You need to understand what your competitors are doing already, how they're doing it, and why you think you can beat them. So maybe they've grown too big, they don't have great customer service, or they charge too much. You know, if you're small and nimble, you can do the same thing with less money. You have less overhead. You can specialize on one specific aspect of the market that a larger competitor cannot, or has already grown past. Or maybe you can be bigger than your competitors. Maybe you have more money already. Maybe you have a certain amount of expertise, so you can do a better job. You just want to list out all the things that they are doing and why you think you can beat them. And, you know, what are the customer needs? What are the customer preferences? What motivates the customer to require this service? Does it make their life easier? Does it allow them to do their own business? Is this a business-to-business service? And then, you know, what is your market fit? And in order to identify market fit, you want to do something called a SWOT analysis. A SWOT analysis is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So what are your strengths in the beginning? Maybe you're smaller, so you can focus on a niche. What are your weaknesses? Well, they're much bigger than you, so they have more money if they realize what you're doing to target you and put you out of business. So once you've identified that, you can begin to develop strategies to address it. You know, what are your opportunities? Maybe there's a service that you want to provide to immigrants to a country. Well, the opportunity is that immigrants are increasing. The threat is that maybe the government will prevent immigrants from coming. Maybe the laws will change. So this is a way at least you can understand what to look for as time passes. What is your target market specifically? Obviously. Service positioning, refine your value proposition. We offer our services online. We come to your house. We make sure we're on time. We offer the most for the money. We really care. That's probably the best one, actually, is we really care about what we're doing. We really care about you. We care about our reputation. We take this personally because we are true believers, true enthusiasts about this industry. In a way that I would say that a larger company really almost always loses. Because a larger company is people with all sorts of other agendas. They're struggling to get to the top, or they just want to have a job. They were recruited out of school. This wasn't necessarily their passion. But it's hard to find 10,000 passionate people about a subject. But if you're 30 people, you can find 30 passionate people about a subject who look each other in the eye, know each other, are accountable to each other. And this gives you a certain type of competitive advantage in the niche you wish to address. And it all speaks to customer experience. When they call you, you answer. When they call you, they always get the same person on the phone. Hi, Dave, nice to talk to you again. Not, I'm sorry, what's your name? I'm sorry, who are you? Can you go over the details of your needs with me, or who you are or what you're doing? I don't know, I've never talked to you before. And you know, determining your niche also allows you to test the market. You can test, you know, specifically what you do against people who need specifically what you do, not some sort of broad industrial approach. And you know, after you do your market research, you need to identify your service strategy. So you've identified all the customer and their needs and maybe your competition, but you need to identify setting objectives and goals to provide that service. You know, we want to be up to a certain number of customers in time, and we need every customer to feel this way. And so this is what we're going to do in order to achieve that. We're going to follow up after we provide our service. We're going to have every customer comes to a specific employee, and you know, every agent or every customer service agent we have is assigned to a customer. This is a strategy that keeps the customer coming back, keeps them telling other people about your business. And you know, and then beyond that, you need to understand what the requirements are. Like, what is required for this service to be rendered? Documents, processes, tools, supplies, and people. You know, because some of those things have fixed costs, so you can plan for those. You can understand where they come in the process. After we make the sale, we're going to need these supplies. Well, we can buy those supplies after we make the sale. However, it might also be a good idea to purchase some of these supplies in bulk to save us money. But maybe certain ingredients of the service you provide have an expiration date, so it's a way of looking at it. What is your customer experience? What is the design of your website, your social media? How readily available are your phone operators? How responsive are they to emails? Do they remember you? You know, what is your interfaces? Are they usable? You know, what is the quality of the way that you interface with your customers? And then in your environments, you know, when they walk into your store, when they walk into your office, how do they feel? Is it luxury? Is it a branded environment where it's consistent with your social media and website? You know, and then, you know, empathy and tailoring. See, unlike providing a product, providing a service is a person-to-person operation. So having a trained, empathic staff will go a long way towards quality branding and repeat business. So after you think about your service strategy, you want to think about your marketing. That is your branding. We have an entire section in this course about branding. It's one of our best sections. You know, what is your distribution? So how are you going to distribute your message? And then how does that translate into distributing your service? And then what are your actual promotions going to be? Are you going to do sales? Are you going to do affiliate marketing? Are you going to do a special brand of organic marketing, which is mostly over social media? Are you going to do some incentive marketing where you have individual salesmen out there in the public? Okay, so then your operations. You have to identify your customer service processes, practices, procedures, and training. Training is important. Processes, you know, your service delivery, your tech and infrastructure, and how you will implement it and how you will use it. The knowledge that know where to get your own answers. So when you have a problem, where do you go as a leader? When your customers or when your service providers have a problem, who do they go to? What is their support within the organization? And then you need to be able to control it, so implement internal controls to achieve service objectives. But then you also need to be able to measure the results of your processes, monitor and report for the marketing and operation processes that you have. After that's all in place, after that's all considered and worked out, then it's ready to launch. You know, go to market, launch to target market, such as select cities. You don't want to just go to everyone at the same time. Select cities, maybe a select demographic, maybe age groups are a real good way of honing out people. And then you're going to constantly be reviewing your feedback. So let's go over some tips that'll help you advance as soon as possible. You want to set goals right and define success well. Service businesses are easy to start. They're easy to survive and prosper, but they're hard to grow beyond the small beginning phase. They're hard to sell. Very few people will buy a service business from you because mostly what it requires is them setting it up themselves. And what do you really have to sell beyond the knowledge of your workforce and maybe your customer book? But customers are not guaranteed to buy anymore. So just because you sold to them in the past doesn't mean they're going to buy from you in the future. And it's hard to attract outside investors for service businesses. You really have to have a plan in place that says we're going to start small with what we have and we're going to grow from what we have. It's going to be a little bit slower. If you have contracts in place, this is a good time to get lending. But if you don't, you probably will have a hard time finding anyone to loan you money either. Look for a business anchor. You want to have a strong client if you can, a hero of your business. Perhaps a former employer. If you've ever worked for somebody within an industry and then you branch out on your own, maybe you can turn around to the person who just hired you and provide them a niche service that maybe understanding what inspired you to leave the company previously and establish this new business is a good value proposition to turn around and offer to the business you just left. One value of dealing with an anchor client or a former employer is that they know you already. And so if you did a good job as an employee, or if you've done a good job by serving them already, they tend to be loyal to you. It's true with products too. But when I have somebody cut my hair, if they do a good job, I genuinely feel bad when I go to somebody else. They did a good job for me. We built a certain amount of relationship in the half an hour I was sitting in the chair. And after I've gone to them a few times, it's really true. I go to somebody else, I hope I don't see this other hairstylist on the street because they'll recognize that maybe I haven't been with them in a while. And I can't even look them in the eye because it's a person-to-person experience. A lot of people are loyal to their dentist, to their hairstylist, to other human services, whoever cuts their grass. You want to understand that the first client you get is twice as hard as the next clients you get. Part of that is because you haven't worked out your processes yet. You haven't worked out how you're going to find those customers. What is your perfect way to find customers? So if you have a hero customer, that really helps because it gives you income, they can tell people. And the most important thing is that your first few customers are a vital source of reference and testimonials. They can leave reviews on your Google page, they can leave reviews at conferences, they can tell other people. You can encourage them to tell other people. Hey, do you know anybody else who might use my service? Yeah, I do. And I'm very happy with the service you've provided me so far. So yeah, sure, I'll be glad to tell them. People like to help each other, usually. You want to find a focus. So differentiate yourself from the market. Do you have special attributes? Maybe you speak a foreign language. Maybe you have a special kind of experience. Maybe you're available 24 hours a day. If you call me in the night, I will answer. This is a way to be especially useful to your customers. Use social media and blogging and your website as your main tools for marketing. I think in this modern age that really goes without saying. Just post, and post some more. Across all of your platforms, there's no reason not to post 100 times a day. 15 on Twitter, 15 on Instagram, 3 videos on YouTube every day or more. Just put out content of all different sorts. Plan your content. Every business, no matter what it is, should be tied to a social media community in some way. It's maybe a general topic that is similar to the industry that you're working with, but No matter what your business is, find a comparable, interesting community that you can operate in conjunction. And that means the best way to do it is to plan your content. Don't start a social community and then expect, yeah, every day I'll decide something new to post. Because it takes a long time to sit down and prepare yourself and start looking. It's much faster to plan your year's content in one day or in a couple of days. Sit down and say, okay, I'm going to build up a folder full of 500 pieces of post. And then beyond that, all you have to really focus on is when you have a specific time-oriented promotion, hey, we're having a sale. Hey, we have a new product. I don't know, you might call it busy work, or the general kind of post, which is, quotes or photos of your team or photos of your product or, I don't know, things of this nature. You can save those all up at once. And so planning for an entire day to say, you know what, I'm going to plan this community all out will save you a lot of time in the future. So beyond that, you still want to look for content creation opportunities. Are you having a company party? Are you having a conference? Are you having a trade show? Take pictures of that. It gives validity to what you're doing. When customers see you with your uniform at a trade show, promoting your product, suddenly you become that much more real of a product or that much more real of a service provider. In this course, we have a lot of sections on social media, so I highly recommend you go to them. We have a workshop on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and also marketing with video. I highly recommend that you look at them. Spend wisely on your logo and look and feel. So this comes down to branding. Have a team, have them in place who are focused on branding, because it is how you represent yourself. Consistency is the key. Consistency across platforms. Don't ever spend money you don't have. And this goes back to not borrowing money for investments if you don't have to. Not unless you have a promise of more money coming later. There's a lot of marketing gimmicks out there that will suck the blood right out of your business. And you don't need them. What you really need is your own experience. So just get out there and do it. Mailing lists, marketing programs, etc., and forever, they cost a lot of money. You don't necessarily need them. A lot of times mailing lists are outdated anyways. You buy a bundle of 1 million emails and literally 900,000 of them not even useful anymore. People can change their email on a drop of a hat. And once they realize they're on some mailing list, they're probably going to do it. And this next step is true in life as it is in business. Don't ever lose a client. Don't ever lose a friend. Repeat business is vital to your success. And keeping customers is always cheaper than finding new ones. And, if they've come to you 6 times already, you can be sure they're going to come a 7th time. If you've never sold to them before, you can be sure probably they're not going to buy from you. You have to reach out to 10 people before you get a single customer. If you have a customer already, it's much faster to tailor a marketing promotion directly to them. Hey, welcome back. Thanks for being part of our team. Always go the extra mile for the clients that you already have. It's much better than going the extra mile to get new clients. Loyalty really matters. It's a two-way street. Know your numbers. Know the difference between sales and money. You make sales, but most of that is from money you already spent. If you make a sale, maybe 10% of that is new money. So you might feel like you're flush with cash, but you have to re-up on product. You're going to have to set up a new marketing campaign. Every sale is not worth as much as it seems when you're making it. And know the difference between profits and cash. It's the same truth. Cash comes in, you can spend it in whatever way you want, but you need to repeat a lot of processes. So, know this process thoroughly. Never compromise your integrity. You're going to succeed or fail based on your reputation. Comes down to branding again. Don't cut corners for your credibility. Might save you some money, might save you some time. You will regret it because it goes back to don't ever lose a client. Expect to make mistakes. Be honest about it. Communicate it with your clients if they're directly affected. Don't be afraid to apologize. Accept when something is a mistake. So many people want to say, no, that wasn't, I meant to do it. Or they want to say, no problem. What? Who, me? What? No. Yes, there is a mistake there. Yes, it wasn't all it could be. This is how we are addressing it. We'll have it fixed as soon as we can. We've diverted resources to make sure this problem doesn't continue. Take 100% responsibility for any problems. This is extreme ownership. Even if it's not your fault. Even if it's the fault of a customer you already fired. You can trace it back to it being your fault for hiring that customer in the first place, for not training that customer in the first place. Taking responsibility for whatever happens in your business in a bad way is the only way to take control over what's happening. And then learn from the lessons. Accept your mistakes and derive a lesson from it and learn from it. Review it. Go over it at the end of the week, at the end of the month, at the end of the year. What mistakes did we make this year? Well, we've already talked about it a lot of times, but we forgot to call our customers back. We didn't use as quality packaging as we could have, and things broke in the mail. Let's not do that again. So, do your own simple, practical business plan. Don't rely on other people to plan for you. You are the leader. You need to be intimately involved in the formation of your plan. So you need your own private version as a leader. Maybe it's full of intimate details that you don't want to share with anybody. Maybe it's full of your fears and your concerns that you don't necessarily need to share with the broader team. Be totally honest with yourself. This is what I'm good at. This is what I'm not good at. These are some real risks that we have. But keep it flexible. You need to be willing to change. You never know when some good thing is going to come into your life and make your life easier and advance your goals. Or you never know when somebody's going to leave your company that you really were depending on and you weren't expecting them to go. You need to be flexible. And don't forget to reference our section on brainstorming, because there's a lot of good tips in there as well. So, developing a service is a great way to get started. It doesn't cost as much as developing a product. And I think advanced economies have a lot more service businesses they provide than product businesses. Mostly it's financial services, so consider that. But if you want to get started fast and you want to avoid a lot of the legal headaches that come with developing your own product, or if you have just an issue in your mind that you think can really be solved with a service, I highly recommend you go for it. The risks of failure are much less than other kinds of businesses, and you can make money much faster too. So good luck.